Listen to this, y'all.
Jen, which is what she liked to be called. And Jen and I met, I was 34, and Jen was just 22 because her birthday
34 and 22. Okay.
is in June, and we met in July. And we met through a pane of glass because she was an inmate and I was the commissary manager.
Commissary manager and inmate. Keep that in mind.
And we were having problems with our radios. We had sold these small radios. This was before Walkman even. Well, I think there was Walkman, but these were just transistor radios playing, I think, AM and FM. Some of them, I think, might have only played FM. And they had headsets, these old headsets that you would just, plug in your ear.
Okay, what does that matter?
And they were connected by wire. There wasn't any kind of remote or wireless, I should say. So we had bought a bad batch of them, I guess. And people were...
And this is who some of y'all idolize.
Returning them like crazy. So I went into this cell block, which was a very unique cell block because one side was men and one side was women. And they supposedly never saw each other.
It's okay for this woman to monetize, but it's not okay for anybody else to make money off the Whittakers, right? But she's apparently reporting on Gypsy on one of her monetized channels, and then the Whittakers on another. Like, what? Why does she have two monetized channels?
Except through like passing and maybe a pane of glass. So this girl came up to me, come up to my window, and she said her radio. Now, at this point, we're hearing all about the radios, and I said, listen, I am happy to replace that radio if you would go ahead and leave a note for me on the commissary sheet so that I remember to bring the radio next week, because we don't have any radios right now anyway. We're getting them in. So if you leave that note for me, I'll go ahead and replace the radio, and I can replace it at the same time so you can have the one you have.
What does this have to do with anything?
And if it works during, because it would work like sporadically. It was really, there was some sort of short in it, something, but all of them so anyway, so the next week, so she leaves the window and I'm working with 3 inmates. So my employees were the inmates, and they're called trustees. And one of them was a really nice looking kid.
Okay, get on with it.
And his name was Richard. I'm not going to give you his last name, but his name was Richard. And I had said to him, wow, she's really cute, She looks like she's about 12 years old, but she's really cute.
Wait, she looks like she's 12 years old, but she's really cute? Like, what the hell?
And I say it for him, to just... So the next week comes around, and I'm getting commissary sheets. And she comes up to the window, and I really don't even notice her. And she hands over her commissary sheet, and there's something about the radio on it. But she signed it something about being 12 years old.
What? What the actual hell? And y'all are giving her your money? Like, what the hell? 12 is 12, right?
So I smiled when I was reading it, and when I looked up, she looked up at the same time because she was looking at obviously at me reading it, and our eyes met, and I had a big grin on my face, and she had green eyes, and when she walked away from the window, I looked at that same guy and I said, that's the girl I'm going to marry.
Oh my God, y'all, this makes me sick. Literally sick. She looked 12 years old, and you were, what, in your 30s? And you thought, well, that's the girl I'm going to marry. Go ahead and keep making money off the Whittakers.